So now, all of a sudden, we're having explosions outside of airports. We've had a lot of things happen with planes and airports last week. But just hold on, there's more. But don't worry, they're saying this is just a brush fire. You wanna know what's weird about that? Brush fires are white. This looks like a fuel fire, which you can tell by the really dark, thick clouds. To add another level of weirdness, we'll get to this in a minute. We've had like 5 factories explode over the last 2 weeks, including that refinery, which was talked about before it blew up. Now this thing right here just fell out of the sky in Tennessee. Nobody knows what it is. It stays lit the entire way down. Ohio, Texas, these loud explosions from these meteors. But you wanna know what's completely unrelated about this right here? Completely unrelated. It's been looking like this in the sky all over the US. Not to mention unrelated, definitely haven't been feeling that well lately. What's really going on with airports and in the sky lately? Yeah, a car did this, not a steel beam. What do you think?
Patriot Summit Restored Republic via a GCR update for Friday, March 27th, 2026, compiled by Judy Byington. The U.S. Treasury declared U.S. Inc. a private corporation, insolvent. The mainstream media missed it. Make way for the era of financial freedom. As Trump paves the way for sovereign citizens to own their own monies, let the mainstream media try to dismiss that. Judy note, the U.S. Inc. government is insolvent. Over $41 trillion in debt. That's the conclusion of the Treasury Department's own 2025 financial statements, released last week to near total media silence. The numbers, $6.06 trillion in total assets against $47.78 trillion in total liabilities as of September 30th, 2025. And there's a link to an article at fortune.com. The Treasury just declared the U.S. insolvent. The media missed it. The article in the respected Fortune magazine was by Steve H. Hank and David M. Walker. Steve Hank is a professor of applied economics, Johns Hopkins University, and member of the board of directors, the Federal Fiscal Sustainability Foundation. David Walker's the former Comptroller General of the U.S. and chairman of board of directors at the Federal Fiscal Sustainability Foundation. Both were appalled that the mainstream media failed to pick up the dramatic story that affects the entire nation and the world. The question is why? Why? Why didn't the media care? Reason? U.S. government that is insolvent is really U.S. Incorporated, or deep state Satan-worshipping Illuminati cabal, private banker corporation which has controlled U.S. taxpayer monies since 1913. And which drove America into bankruptcy in 2008, making the fiat U.S. dollar status official. Reason: U.S. Inc. has controlled the mainstream media forever. The plan was to drive America's financial status into the ground, so the people would accept a digital currency backed by nothing, and thus the cabal could have complete control over everyone. They called it the Great Reset. Klaus Schwab wrote a book about it. Everything was going as planned for the cabal until along came the BRICS nations accompanied by Trump and the Q plan to save the world. While the BRICS nations evaluated 209 countries' currencies to be gold asset-backed and planned a global currency reset, Trump went around the world and organized the Global Military Alliance to arrest the bad guys. Then he flew 650 plane loads of gold out of tunnels beneath the Vatican where the bad guys had hidden it, and put it back into its rightful place in the new U.S. Treasury, located on an Indian reservation near Reno, Nevada. On February 20th, 2026, U.S. Congress and President Trump approved the quantum financial system as the primary financial system for the nation. The global activation, including release of Nisara funds, set for Wednesday, April 1st, 2026, same date the fiat US Inc. dollar would be officially dumped. Even though most in Congress had been blackmailed by the cabal to vote otherwise, they were forced into the decision by the Supreme Court's recent positive decision on the Nisara law. So, the bottom line was that on Wednesday, April the 1st, 2026, Nisara law activation will ensure that people worldwide will be debt-free from the deep state Satan-worshipping Illuminati who have had control of the global monetary system since at least 1913, according to Juan O'Savin, who some say was JFK Jr., VP of the Restored Republic. This clandestine cabal, comprising the mega-rich elites, has not only controlled the world's financial institutions, but also controlled the media narrative that shaped our perceptions. An imminent black swan financial event, along with the help of the global military alliance, was expected to dismantle their stranglehold and spark 209 countries transition to gold asset-backed XLM and XRP digital currencies. From the beginning, that cabal has been headed by the pretend Jews of the Khazarian Mafia. From the Trumpist forum on Telegram, we learned that 85 to 90% of those calling themselves Jews were in truth Khazarian Ashkenazis, whose ancestors supposedly converted from Satan worship to the Jewish faith in 740 AD. By taking control of the world's monetary banking system, they have ruled the earth for a very long time. They honor Satan through child sex trafficking and human sacrifice in return for false promises of riches, power, and glory. Head of these false Jewish Khazars called themselves the Rothschilds. They lied about their Jewish origins to stake false claims on Israel through the Zionism movement for the purpose of creating endless wars from which they benefit by funding both sides. This wealthiest bloodline on earth built its empire through these lies, manipulation, and murder, extending into European royals and elite clans like the Rockefellers, Astors, DuPonts, and more. They changed names to infiltrate societies and secretly sire children for key power positions in governments, securing riches through national taxes. By the 1770s, they launched the Illuminati through Adam Weishaupt, embedding Talmudic teachings with Luciferian goals that evolved into the modern-day deep state network. His 5 sons spread across Europe, dominating finance to enslave the people. Their deep state agents engineered market crashes, currency wars, pushed bioweapon releases, rigged elections, engineered health emergencies, continued endless wars, and recklessly spent the people's taxpayer monies into fiat status as paid-off media puppets protected them. In 2026, the tide turned dramatically with Donald Trump and White Hats dismantling the deep state from within and worked with the BRICS alliance to force a global currency reset to gold asset-backed currencies of 209 nations. For years, Trump's global military alliance had been making mass arrests that targeted bloodline operatives. Central banks were now faltering, and New World Order plans for one world government was collapsing. The House of Rothschild's criminal network faced its final reckoning, with their influence over uranium, nuclear power, and global finance shattered forever. President Trump, the Q movement, and the BRICS alliance, through their global currency reset, have forced a bank closure deadline of Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. As of Thursday, March 26, bank users across the U.S. were reporting delayed bank transfers, pending transactions lasting longer than normal, temporary signal instability in key cities, stock market volatility spikes without explanation, increasing liquidity controls forcing rerouting of transactions, and accounts being frozen for no apparent reason. Banks were struggling to keep up with the load as the new gold asset-backed global financial framework took priority. In other words, the worldwide Rothschilds banks that were used to functioning on the fiat US dollar were now failing because they could not back up their fiat money. It was advised to withdraw your monies from banks before they froze your account, which some banks have begun doing in their own desperate need to keep afloat. After Wednesday, April 1st, 2026, all adults on Earth will be invited into an official redemption center to set up your new gold asset-backed money account on the new Starlink satellite system. There you will have full sovereign power over your monies. In other news, a Navy medical officer whistleblower has revealed internal military data from the Defense Medical Epidemiology Database showing a catastrophic 973% increase in heart failure among active duty pilots after taking the COVID vax. Dr. Peter McCullough, MD. The military, DARPA, which is a division of the Pentagon, invented mRNA injections, not Pfizer or Moderna, not Operation Warp Speed. Martial law. Thursday, March 26, 2026. Military is the only way. Shadow of Ezra 2.0 platform on Telegram. During these upcoming days, 3 times daily, 8-hour documentaries will be broadcast across the globe in 77 different languages. These revelations will expose mass arrests, military tribunals, election fraud, corruption at the highest levels, and the darkest crimes against humanity. This was a binding declaration of authority and summons from Trump as Commander-in-Chief of the Global Military Alliance. Trump was seizing full control, sidelining the corrupt swamp, and directing the military via the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The military now served we the people through Trump, not the treasonous corporate facade. Global currency reset. On February 20th, 2026, the U.S. Congress and President Trump approved the quantum financial system and the primary financial system for the nation, with global activation including release of Nisara Jasara funds set for Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. On Friday, March 27th, 2026, the QFS goes live. Tier 4B notifications are already queued. The 800 numbers have been tested. The redemption centers are staffed. The deals are signed. The gold has moved. They've migrated the ledger, $23 trillion in U.S. debt, $8 trillion in offshore accounts, Every transaction, every loan, every dark money transfer since 1971, all of it moved from the old system to the new one. Friday, March 27th is a deadline for the Federal Reserve when the QFS goes live and when gold trades not in dollars but in quantum verified weight. Mr. Poole, final chapter on Telegram. Thursday, April 2nd, 2026 notification to set appointments. The overwhelming majority of my bond people are telling me that they will be done between now and April 2nd. The overwhelming majority of my groups and banking contacts believe they will go between the 2nd of April and the 15th of April. I don't know the timing, but that is what they are being told. Mark Z on Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. Tuesday, March 24th, Wolvie says the bondholders are receiving notifications. He hopes for Tier 4B notifications today or tomorrow. Payments will start on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. We were waiting for ISO 20022 to happen, and it has, and it is working very well. Wolvie says it has been 100% successful. A lady at a bank called Wolvie crying, saying, "This is the news we've been waiting for." Wolvie cannot say more due to NDAs. In a few days, he will be fully under NDA and will be overseas. Forwarded from Ginger Doucette. Thursday, March 26, Bruce, the big call. The QFS has a node for cryptocurrency. The central banks around the world are buying up gold to back their currencies. 4 different sources say Tier 4B notification could happen on Friday, March 27th or Saturday, March 28th, 2026. Tier 4B should get started with appointments before the end of the month on Tuesday, March 31st, 2026. Global Financial Crisis, Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. U.S. systems are showing real-time strain. EBS Donald Trump on Telegram. What people are experiencing right now is no longer isolated. Across the United States, users are reporting delayed bank transfers and pending transactions lasting longer than normal. Major carriers experiencing temporary signal instability in key cities. Stock market volatility spikes without clear explanation. Payment processors flagging and rerouting transactions. At the same time, large banks are increasing internal liquidity controls. This is not being discussed publicly, but the signs are there. Financial infrastructure is being adjusted under pressure. Legacy systems are struggling to keep up with the load as new frameworks begin to take priority in the background. Thursday, March 26th, the complete history of the House of Rothschild, the Trumpist on Telegram. The Rothschilds have been in control of the world for a very long time, their tentacles reaching into every aspect of daily life as the ultimate control freaks, orchestrating chaos for profit. Claiming Jewish roots, they are in truth Khazarian Ashkenazis. From ancient lands, now Georgia, converting in 740 AD, without changing their Asiatic genes. 85 to 90% of those calling themselves Jews today are these Khazars, lying about their homeland to stake false claims on Israel while every prime minister there advances the fraud. This bloodline, the wealthiest on earth, built its empire through lies, manipulation, and murder, extending into European royals and elite clans like the Rockefellers
How many times does a man have to say central casting in front of the entire world before you realize he's not joking, he's actually revealing something? The crazy part?
Look, here's the deal. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
I desperately want to make love to a schoolboy.
Everyone would just wear a mask.
That's correct, Wendy. We all wear masks, metaphorically speaking.
We're created by you know the thing.
Let me run that back for you.
Look, come on, man. I know you're. Come on, man. Come on, man.
What if the most powerful people on Earth built a machine that could see the future, and what they saw terrified them so badly they tried to break reality itself to escape it? What if every decision, every world event, every manipulation for the last 50 years has been leading to one inevitable outcome they can't control? Because according to multiple whistleblowers, that's exactly what happened. They looked into every possible future, every timeline, every scenario, and they all ended the same way. They lose, we win. So in 2012, they built a 17-mile particle accelerator underground and tried to rip open space-time to create a new timeline where they could stay in control. The Mandela effect. Time accelerating, culture endlessly recycling. Reality feeling off. You're not imagining it. You're living in the aftermath of their failed attempt to rewrite the future. By the end of this video, you'll understand why reality feels broken, why they're desperately trying to keep you distracted, and why, no matter what they do, they've already lost. So what exactly is Project Looking Glass? According to multiple whistleblowers, including a microbiologist named Dan Burrish, who claims he worked at Area 51's S4 facility, Project Looking Glass was a classified military program that began in the 1970s and continued through the early 2000s. It wasn't a time machine, but a device that allowed us to view probable future outcomes to any given scenario. The Looking Glass device was described as a large, ringed apparatus that looks like something between a particle accelerator and a Stargate. At its center was what insiders called the yellow cube. The machine worked by creating a controlled distortion in space-time, essentially bending light and gravity to peer into what might happen days, months, or years in the future. Operators could input different scenarios and variables, and the device would project probable outcomes. Think of it like a quantum computer combined with a crystal ball running simulations of reality itself. Some researchers claim the technology was reverse engineered from ancient Sumerian cylinder seals, suggesting this knowledge is thousands of years old. Others say it came from recovered alien artifacts during projects like Roswell. Either way, according to testimony, by the 1970s, this technology was operational at a facility in Nevada, and the military-industrial complex had been quietly using it to make strategic decisions about everything from geopolitics to economic policy. They were essentially playing chess with the future, but the game was rigged in their favor, and for a while it worked. But then something unexpected happened. Around the year 2000, operators of Project Looking Glass started noticing something impossible. No matter what variables they changed, no matter what decisions they simulated, all probable futures began converging on a single point in time. December 21st, 2012. You know that date. The Mayan calendar, the supposed end of the world. According to multiple testimonies, when operators tried to look past 2012, the machine showed nothing but static. The future simply stopped. Or more accurately, it became impossible to predict. The elites who had been using this technology to manipulate world events allegedly went into what one source called blind panic, because for the first time, they couldn't see what was coming. They couldn't manipulate the outcome. Some researchers believe this convergence represented one of three possibilities. Option 1, an extinction-level event, solar flares, pole shift, nuclear war, something that would wipe the slate clean. Option 2, a technological singularity, the emergence of artificial intelligence so advanced that human models of prediction become obsolete. Option 3, a consciousness shift, humanity reaching some kind of spiritual awakening or dimensional ascension that fundamentally changes the rules of reality.